Thank you, and well, good to see everyone settled back. Of course, you want to understand what's happening on the policy side, what's happening. You want to get a pulse of the policy side. You come to Delhi, but if you want to know what's happening in the market, you have to travel to Mumbai. I learned that 21 years ago, and now obviously we got whole of Mumbai here. We got Nilesh Bhai, Utpal Sheth, and of course Atul Suri. Thank you first of all of you, for coming here and flying from Mumbai. Nilesh Bhai, I'm going to start with you. Gujarati में कहावत है, बधारे बधारे लेवानु, घटाड़े घटाड़े बेचवानु. For those of you who don't understand, buy in a rising market, sell in a falling market. That used to be the trading principle. एक साल से most of the people are trying to understand, is this a rising market or is this a falling market? Your thoughts on that?
So very tough question, Anuj Bhai. Because, after 5 years of 25% plus return in small and mid cap, everyone's expectation is that 25% return to ban hi jayega. Now, obviously, when those expectations are not felt, confusion arises whether it's a rising market or a falling market. I will say for an investor, this is a great opportunity to invest. And for a trader, it's a very, very difficult market.
Nilesh Bhai said 25%. There was a time when people would say कि sir 25% बन जाए, we'll be happy. मैं 25% बहुत ज्यादा है, थोड़ा सा कम करो. बोले अच्छा चलो ठीक है, 15% बन जाए काफी है. मैं कहा 15% बन सकता है, थोड़ी सी मेहनत करनी होगी, म्यूचुअल फंड्स में थोड़ा सा. बोले नहीं सर गलत समझ रहे हो, 15% साल का नहीं, 15% महीने का चाहिए. So we have seen that kind of phase in the market, right? Utpal, of course, you've been a legendary investor. You've been the right-hand man. You were the right-hand man of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. You've seen so many market cycles. You've seen so many reforms. How do you rate this particular reform, the GST cut? How big is that? Many people are comparing it with 91, many people with 96, the dream budget. To your mind, how big a reform is this for the market?
Thank you, Anuj. Before I start my response to that, let me extend what Nilesh Bhai said. So Rakesh ji used to always say, "Vadhare vadhare levanu, vadhare vadhare levanu, gatade gatade vechwanu." But he also used to say that trading and investing are two different things. When you say vadhare vadhare levanu and vadhare vadhare vechwanu, gatade gatade vechwanu, for trading, you are referring to price. That as price goes up, you buy more. As price go down, you reduce exposure. But when you're talking about investing, it is still vadhare vadhare levanu, still ghatade ghatade vechwanu, but you buy as the value goes up and sell as the value goes down. So in one case, you are following price, in the other case, you are following value. Okay. So since Nilesh Bhai made that distinction, I thought I'll...
See, that's the advantage that you had of working with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, which none of us had, right?
Yes, I'm blessed. Thank you. Okay, coming to your question. See, I think it is a very material reform, much needed, because over the recent years, we were definitely seeing consumption struggling. And I'm hoping that this works out and consumption does pick up. Consumption is 60% plus of our economy.
Yeah.
It is imperative for consumption to do well. However, the root cause is actually the real per capita income. We need the real per capita income to go up. It can go up by two ways. One is incomes go up, and second is prices go down. This actually improves the real per capita income. So I think it is a very substantial reform, much needed, and we are looking forward to its positive outcome.
Okay. Nilesh Bhai, just to extend that point, consumption, it's 60% of our GDP, right? Do you see this as a spring kind of effect on the economy? Because 2 साल से तकलीफ क्या रही है हमारी कि अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ नहीं आ रही है. मार्केट में हम जब भी बात करते हैं, कोई भी आप भी अगर आए हैं चैनल पर, आपने हमेशा बोला है कि अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ नहीं आ रही है. कैन दिस लीड टू दैट वर्चुअस साइकिल, people spending more, companies earning more, and then investing more, and eventually the earning cycle revising upwards?
So Anuj bhai, as Utpal bhai mentioned, this reform will support real per capita income. For last 10 years, we have done many supply side reforms, which kind of unleashed the supply creation, ease of doing business, the banking system cleanup. Now, it's time that we start pushing demand, because our capacity utilization has remained around 75% for some time. And if your capacity utilization doesn't go to 80-85%, people are not investing. So now we are giving support on the demand side, hoping that this demand will create a virtuous cycle of demand improving utilization, utilization creating private capex creating new jobs, and this circle continues to move. But to me, this is first step. There are many more steps we need to take. And the most important thing is ease of doing business. We have done a lot. But even today, we have so many rules, regulations, compliance burden on an entrepreneur that it takes his energy and time in managing those compliances. For example, we have regulation which requires spittoons in a factory. अब अंग्रेज तो थुकदान लेके चले गए थे, वो भी उन्होंने हमारे यहाँ थोड़ी छोड़ा था, but we have kept that law. There is law which says that your wage slip has to be in particular font and particular color. अब आप wage slip email पे भेजो तो there is no rule and regulation on it. Now, should an entrepreneur be spending his energy on doing this kind of compliance or actually focus on business? So, while this GST reform is a step in the right direction, let's complement it through ease of doing business and many other reforms so that we can actually go and touch double-digit growth. All this thing is good for us to get 5, 6, 7% growth. हम वो कक्षा के वो स्टूडेंट है जो अव्वल दर्जे पे तो पास हो रहा है, बट सिर्फ 70% पेपर ही अटेम्प्ट कर रहा है, बाकी का 30% छोड़ के आ रहा है. Let's go and get 100 out of 100 by hitting 10% growth rate.
I was having a conversation with Atul earlier in the day because I was here and Atul said कि क्या लग रहा है market? And I was like, because this is the one question that everyone is asking, क्या लग रहा है market? पता किसी को नहीं है. And the problem, Atul, is that earlier we could at least report something. Now at 3:30, my biggest challenge is what should be my headline? Because Nifty 50 पॉइंट ऊपर है 50 पॉइंट नीचे और मुझे दोनों को एक्सप्लेन करना है. तो एक दिन क्रूड ऊपर था तो मैंने बोला मार्केट इज अप बिकॉज क्रूड इज अप. अगले दिन मार्केट नीचे था, मैंने बोला मार्केट इज डाउन बिकॉज क्रूड इज अप. कुछ ना कुछ तो रीजन ढूंढना है. बट यू टेल मी एज अ फंड मैनेजर, हाउ आर यू नेविगेटिंग दिस एग्जॉस्टिंग मार्केट? एंड डू यू थिंक दिस जीएसटी कट कैन लीड टू सम काइंड ऑफ maybe upliftment of sentiment?
So there's a line I heard long ago, I don't know from whom it was. So it says that they think we know. We know we don't know. But we also know they don't know. So it's like that. So we are in some sort of that stage. As you rightly said, we see the index se upar hai, so you have to manufacture a reason why the market is up. And half an hour later, the market is down. You have to manufacture a reason why the market is down. So in these narrow ranges, very often we, get into that phase. And we have been experiencing for the last 1 year. But as people who manage public money, we always tell people that, hey, take a time horizon little longer. The last 1 year has been very frustrating. It's been, the index is where it is, and most funds have actually lagged it. But the moment you stretch it, as Nilesh bhai said, that the returns that we've had since 2000, which I think was a major reset, which was the COVID time. Since there, we've had 4 years of phenomenal returns. And even if you factor in this sideways market of last 1 year.
You mean 2020?
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
So the returns have been phenomenal. So yes, I mean, I think it's like, you're like a marathon runner, right? It's 42 kilometers. You set off. we were the best performing market those 3-4 years. But to complete a marathon, you don't have to be the first every kilometer. In fact, if you try to be the first every kilometer, you may not finish the marathon. It may exhaust you. At some stage, you need to retain your energy. You need to take a step back. So I feel that we are going through a consolidation in a larger bull market. And that 1 year is painful. Misplaced expectations, yes. The global markets are going up and we are not going up. That is even more painful. But one has to take a step back and look what we've done 2 to 3, 4 years before that. And from that point of view, I think it's phenomenal. So I think this is a correction in a larger bull market. And yes, it's always painful because expectations are 25%. The good part is that those expectations will now be tempered. And now 12 and 15 will look very good. In fact, anything positive may look good. And that is the real mindset you need as investors.
You know, you made some really good points. And especially the point on the fact that from 2020 we have done really well. It's just last के 2 साल थोड़ा सा खराब रहे. But you know what? Post 2020 के बाद one more change has happened. When I started my career, long term was 5 years, medium term was 2 years, short term was 6 months. Now long term is BTST, medium term is 5 hours, and short term is कि मैंने सौदा डाला पैसा नहीं बना. So the set of new investors, Nilesh Bhai, who has come in the market post 2020, this is the first year in which they haven't made money. What's your message to them? Because they saw big returns being generated from 20. A lot of people left their full-time jobs and started trading as a career, trading or investment. I met some of them outside actually. So, I mean, what do you tell them in this kind of market?
So, Anuj bhai, if making money was so easy, all of us would have become billionaire.
You already are.
So the point is that even in last 5 years, where markets by and large has gone up except last 1 year, how many retail speculators have lost money? As per SEBI's own research, 9 out of 10 people trading in F&O has lost money. And that number is amounting to somewhere around 1 lakh crore plus. The profit of Jane Street is real. The profit of retail speculators might just be a show off. So my only recommendation to speculators will be, trading is a very, very difficult way to make money. Investment is far simpler way to make money. Yes, investment birbal ki khichdi hai to samay chahiye. But trading, making money is very, very difficult. And you have to be right every time. The day you go wrong, you end up losing whatever you have created. I mean, look at long-term capital management. It had the brain power of Nobel laureates. It's being described as one of the best congregation of intelligence. For a few years, it ran very well. There was no dip. And one day, it just collapsed. Long-term capital management became history. If Nobel laureates couldn't succeed in trading, how the hell an individual speculator will succeed?
Now, since you've raised this point, do you think the solution is to ban weekly expiry, which is where we seem to be heading, or is there something else? You know, just since you brought this topic up.
So my preference as a purist will be to ban weekly expiry. It doesn't serve much purpose. But then we are living in a not so ideal world. So saap mare nahi aur lathi toote nahi jaisa solution है. Let weekly expiry be only among individual traders. Let no institution play into it. There will be no Jane Street. There will be no mutual fund. We'll be fine with it. Then within retail speculators, someone will make money, someone will lose money. Manipulations will be far less. Exchange will be happy. Broker will be happy. Speculators को एक जगह मिल जाएगी खेलने के लिए. And exchequer will be happy. STT चलता रहेगा.
It's like a poker table. एक shark के लिए, एक fish के लिए. So, Utpal, you know, last time when we had a big reform, a tax reform for the market, and market loves tax cuts, right? 2019, corporate tax was cut. I think the market was going through the similar funk at that time. We used to be bored of the market daily, and then one fine day, the finance minister announced that we are cutting corporate tax. For half an hour, market didn't move because market didn't believe that something like this could happen. And then we had 9% rally in 2 days in Nifty. इस बार क्यों नहीं आई वो रैली इतने बड़े जीएसटी कट के बाद? एक आध सेक्टर को छोड़ दें तो इतना बड़ा कट जीएसटी का आया.
See, the most important driver for equity prices is corporate earnings. When you have a tax cut for corporates, it has an impact immediately, fully traceable, right? Now, when you cut indirect taxes, that takes a long time to play out and reflect in corporate earnings.
Earlier, there was a direct tax cut as well in budget. So if you combine them, it's like you were talking about 2 lakh crores savings.
Direct tax cut was not for corporates.
For individuals.
For individuals,
Yeah.
right? So it's not for corporates. What we are talking about, the September 19 cut,
Yeah.
was for corporates. So when you have interest rate cut combined with direct tax cut for corporates, the impact on corporate profitability is immediate, and the impact on valuations is immediate. This time you've had a rate cut, but longer term yields have not come down. You have an indirect tax cut, but not a corporate tax cut. So I feel that it will take a longer time to play out for corporate earnings and reflect in corporate earnings.
Okay. How long do you think?
Just if I can add to what
Yeah.
Utpal Bhai said, there are certain industry where you have gone from 18 or 12 to 0. But they were getting input tax credit of 5%,
Yes.
7%.
Yes.
Now, ideally, 18 minus 5, they would have passed 13 to consumer. But right now, they are passing full 18. That means they have to take a hit on the profitability of 5%.
Yes.
So, market is not very sure of input tax credit coming to the corporate. So, in some sectors, there is actual loss of earning rather than increase of earning because of this.
Like
input
insurance,
tax
like
credit.
insurance sector.
Like insurance.
Okay. You're making another point, Utpal Bhai, on that.
No, I was not making another point. I was just saying, bringing out the difference between now and September 19.
Okay. Okay. So it will take another 2 years maybe.
Hopefully 12 to 18 months.
12, 18 months. Okay. I'm just trying to find out when the Nifty will hit new high. Because,
Much before.
yeah, that
Anuj,
makes my life a bit easier.
No, I know.
So,
But, you also mentioned that this is a boring market and...
no, I can never say that. That's the first thing my editor told me when I started my career. He said, never say this is a boring market because then why will anyone watch you? Even if the Nifty moves 5 point, you make it a point that, oh, we have 5 point move on the Nifty.
Understood.
Make it exciting.
You said
it's a very exciting market.
You said frustrating.
It's a frustrating market.
Okay. I think it's not about being frustrated. This is not a frustrating market. The market is signaling something. We should respect what the market is signaling. We should separate the noise from the signal. What is the signal? The signal is we are genuinely struggling with corporate earnings growth. More than that, the market is also signaling that there is a value migration taking place. The 2020 move that you asked Atul about, in that move, it was the value stocks and the small cap stocks which did the best because there was a catalyst. The market is signaling a value migration. We all need to figure out what is the value migration towards.
Got it.
I think it's a very interesting market and not a frustrating market.
Okay. Let's take a bit of a poll here. How many of you invest in stock markets? Okay. And how many of you are finding this market really troubling? We have only one honest person in this room. Thank you so much. Atul, we have been the worst performing market this year. Facts. You can argue that over a 20-year period we've been the best performing market. You could argue that from 2020, if you look at things, we are among the best performing market. This year, it's never happened in 30 years that we have underperformed MSCI Asia X Japan by 20%. We have done that this year. And that's reflected in the flows that you track. What's going wrong? Where are these flows headed? What's your study saying?
As I said that we ran up to new highs in September, exactly a year ago. In fact, the new high happened exactly a year ago, last week of September 24. So the index is where it was. Post that, we had a fall to 22,000 Nifty. That was the first hit. I think that was a time when people suddenly started realizing that earnings is not what is being priced in. And that whole argument that FI selling came in, we are overvalued, etc. came in. So we had a very big sharp drift, and the world was doing pretty good at that stage. Then we tried to recover. Then we had the India-Pakistan border and the market gap down. We took a second hit. Then again, as the world continued to rally, we again attempted. And now we've had this tariff issue. So we've had three very big hits as far as the index goes. If you compare this with the world, as you rightly pointed out, is about 20% higher, MSCI Global Index. Let's not factor in some more interesting markets. A lot of the European markets, you'll find that they have done phenomenally, decadal best. So India, in that sense, has had almost a dip, a second attempt, and now it's struggling to make new lifetime highs, which you just spoke about. So I guess that's the kind of environment that there is. FII selling is constant. But I think the moot point is, which the earlier two speakers also spoke about, that the basic thing is that till earnings do not come, we do not have the legs to make new highs. Absolutely. Even if we make new highs, it will not sustain. You can have false breakouts, right? Why are some false breakouts? Why do some succeed? Ultimately, it is earnings. Just as in a case of a stock, and that is why this whole GST reforms is very interesting and timely. As you know, you asked earlier that the last time there were corporate tax cuts, it was a mathematical number. It's straight off. It had to be factored in EPS growth, post-tax. But now we do not know. Yes, the reforms look good. Yes, it has to deliver. But will it pan out? And this is going to take time. So I feel that that is definitely the silver lining. If this propels that earning growth, then I guess India has a very big catch-up to do. Anuj.
Absolutely.
In fact, I foresee that we could have a 20% up move in our markets. A 20%, that would be 30,000 Nifty.
In next 1 year?
Yes. Provided these reforms, and there are more in the pipeline, actually play out, and India as a country starts seeing that uptick in GDP growth, corporate earnings and things like that. So India has a very big catch-up to do. We've actually struggled and underperformed. And, just progressing from where you are, if you look at global markets, it is crazy. It is insane.
Especially
the kind of rally.
If you look at NASDAQ, for example, and the kind of listed
anything to do with AI.
Yeah.
You look at, stocks, of course, we all know of NVIDIA. Look at a stock called Palantir. You will spin. You look at countries like Japan, which have not made new highs for decades. But when you go into the Japanese market and you see what's driving Japan, it's not those old Nissan, etc. They are the AI plays.
It's AI play.
Go to Korea. Go to Taiwan. So you realize that, as Utpal said, that there is a new theme emerging. In fact, what I am seeing, even in our markets, Anuj, there are very dramatic new themes emerging. We are still stuck with that HDFC, TCS, Infosys, Reliance. They've done nothing for 5 years. But look at what Eternal has done.
Yeah.
It's created record from listing day to index.
Absolutely.
I think it's been the fastest journey. So I feel that there are a lot of things happening, but ultimately markets are slaves of earnings.
Absolutely. No, you made a very good point. Actually, I was now going to bring that up. When we talk about reforms, Nilesh bhai, let's also talk about the reforms that private sector should do. Why should we only look at the government? Now, why can't... I remember reading a very good headline. It struck me. Oracle buys the future, Infosys buys back the past. In one day, Oracle added entire market cap of Indian IT. What have we done? As someone said, it was said in a very funny manner. It was a bit of a sarcasm that, it's good that, US is banning H1B because now at least the good Indian people will stop going and becoming CEOs of Google and start something good here instead of just, providing the outsourcing model. So you think if we can also get, if Taiwan can do it, why can't we do it?
So, I can answer your question in a lighter vein or in a serious
In a
manner.
lighter vein, please.
Lighter vein. Okay. So all our IT company CEO should line up before Xerox and ask them to invest in their company. Because Xerox is the creator of all the digital ecosystem of the world. We all know Xerox is a copier. But Xerox invested into Palo Alto Research Center to invent future. It invented graphic user interface which converted a blank laptop screen, computer screen into live with icons and mouse. It invented mouse. It invented laser printing. It invented Ethernet through which one computer started talking to another. It invented modular programming through which complex software programming was possible. It invented Alto, which was world's first personal computer. And Xerox had invested in Apple. So they invited Steve Jobs to visit their Palo Alto Research Center. Steve Jobs looked at Alto, graphic user interface, mouse, Ethernet, and Macintosh was born. Apparently, Bill Gates also picked up something from Xerox. So we need to find out a company like Xerox who will invent future and allow us to copy. That's the best way to success.
Okay, we have about 4-5 minutes. We'll take some questions. If you have, please raise your hand. Yeah, one question over there. Please, mic there. Please specify who this question is for out of the three.
So my question is for all of you.
Okay.
So I'm CA Shivashish Kannani, practicing as an advocate, but I have a lot of interest in stock markets because I'm a CA also. So जैसे सर ने बताया कि स्टॉक मार्केट्स में तो जो अर्निंग्स लग रही है वो तो 12-15% अभी लग रहा है, तो बेटर ये नहीं है कि हम गोल्ड, सिल्वर और कॉपर में अभी लगा दें. गोल्ड, सिल्वर एंड कॉपर मुझे स्पेसिफिक एडवाइस अगर हम लोगों को मिल जाए, दैट वुड बी बेटर, एंड इट इज नॉट कवर्ड बाय सेबी गाइडलाइंस आल्सो दैट यू कैन नॉट एडवाइज ऑन दोज आइटम्स. थैंक यू.
Who wants to take this? Utpal, you want to take it?
Yeah, so, हमारा एक recency bias बहुत होता है. Like we are all talking about gold. In fact, a lot of people have been talking about gold. But if you look at gold, before this current rise, it probably did nothing for a decade. So क्या होता है कि there is always a recency bias to an asset class that's moving. The question you got to ask yourself is that, do I have that time? Just as in equity, time is a factor. So what I feel is that just because gold is moving up or copper is moving up, I guess you will have to take, it's a trade is a different thing. They are great places to trade. In fact, why do this and why not do crypto? Because honestly, that's the fastest moving asset class in the world. So what I suggest is that, if you're looking at these asset classes, take a deeper thought, wonder why they are moving. Do you think that it's going to play out more? Like in the case of gold, it is a different story. In the case of copper, it's a different story. Gold-silver ratio, should you invest in gold or silver? That's a different story. So I think that commodities, each has a certain play. I guess understand that. And if you think it's the play out is large, it's big enough, then get into it. But just don't go with recency bias, because everyone's talking about gold, gold, gold. The question is that, are you really convinced? Is it going to be something so big? If the answer is yes, play for it. Because only when you have the conviction can you strand drawdowns price and time wise. Any asset class you invest in, उसमें correction तो आना ही है, price या time wise. That is when your conviction gets tested. And if you're investing just because of recency bias, that correction will throw you out. You will make a loss. It is only if you have conviction. So I think take a deeper thought. Okay. These are very interesting asset classes, but not just because they are moving, we should get into them.
What is your advice on this? Final advice.
I would say trade
Crypto invest or not?
crypto.
Okay.
Crypto. Okay. Okay, we have about 55 seconds. I'm going to ask a quick question to all three of you. Nilesh bhai, I'm going to start with you. For next 12 to 24 months, what's the one best sector or one best market to invest in right now? If you had 10 lakh rupees to invest, where would you invest?
Kotak Multi-Asset Allocation Fund. शिव भाई आपको भी आंसर मिल गया, समझ लेना जरा.
Utpal, you can't say that because you don't manage public money. So at least that advantage I have. Where do you see the most opportunities in next 1 to 2 years?
I see the most opportunities not just for 1-2 years, but even for a longer period of time, into a few mega trends which are playing out. Like he mentioned, AI is one mega trend. We have to think through where that will take us. We've already seen renewables being a mega trend which has created a lot of wealth, and so on. I think there are a few...
In India, you see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at the green energy companies. I don't want to mention any specific companies. Look at the green energy companies, what has happened. So
the problem is you won't name those specific companies. That's what everyone wants to.
So, but I think the whole AI play is ahead of us, and it's a very long play.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Atul, crypto you already said, but something else.
No, so I
You
would
can tell a stock. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Bata do ek stock.
No, so I would just actually extend what Utpal is saying, that ultimately, if you are able to identify the mega trend, 70-80% of your work is done. Then you have to find a tik-tak company. And, George Soros said that if you identify a mega trend, invest in 2 stocks in that trend. Invest in the best, because obviously if it plays out, it will play out great. And invest in the worst, because the alpha that you will receive will be the highest.
Okay.
So that was something that George Soros said. But the 3 trends or 4 trends that even I think AI is a very big play. As I said, if you look at global markets, for people who follow global markets, this current global equity bull market is being led by AI. Even in the US, the Russell 2000, which is a broad-based index of the mid-cap and gives you a sense of the US economy as a whole, just made a lifetime high from 2021. So what I'm trying to say is that a lot of American companies are lagging. It is the few who are making a lot of money and contributing to this rally. Country-wise also that is happening. In each country also the stocks that are moving are AI related. So this rally that is happening globally is very, very driven by AI. Unfortunately in India we have very few direct plays, but there are a lot of indirect plays. Like data centers is one such area you can play through. Green energy, again, I think it's a mega trend playing out. We have a lot of plays in India. I think I would like to add another sector to what Utpal said, defense. I feel the government's commitment to defense and the need for defense, and from the way geopolitics is playing out, I think this is again a very big mega trend. I feel that this is another area you can play out in. There are very few listed companies because most of them are PSUs, but a lot of unlisted plays will also play out. And that is going to be a mega trend.
Okay.
So I feel identify 3 or 4 big mega trends, and that will take care of 70-80% of your challenge of investment.
Yeah, defense is a big one, and we'll soon have a discussion on that as well. And of course, you need defense because, when you have neighbors like the ones we have, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your neighbors, right? So, thank you so much, Atul, Utpal, Nilesh. We could have gone on, but we have actually run out of our time. Thank you so much, and one big round of applause, please, for all our guests.